It's called Nevermind Already, Nirvana's 20th anniversary box set. It's from 2011. Kurt Cobain died for somebody's sins, but not mine. The anointed grunge Buddha is as big now as he's ever been, which is to say, nearly ubiquitous. When Nevermind hit number 1, less than 4 months after its release, it was selling roughly 1.2 million copies a month. No one sells like that anymore, and no one ever will again. But Nirvana is still popular, and Cobain even more so. Within the past 5 years, he's knocked Elvis out of the number 1 spot on Forbes' list of top-earning dead celebrities. You can own him as a figurine or on a lunchbox, or you can buy pre-ratty Cobain edition Converse and cultivate your own junkie aura. It's hard to believe that 20 years have gone by since Nevermind came along and changed everything. And it's hard to imagine an album doing that now, even if we had a fully functioning record industry. Nirvana's supersized ghost lingers in our hearts, and every few years the corpo coffers get to clang in hungrily for every last penny in the pockets of anyone that's ever had a Head Shop Cobain poster pinned to their bedroom wall. Nirvana retrospectives and reissues to date include the Live from the Muddy Banks of the Wishkah from 1996, a no-nonsense best of simply called Nirvana from 2002, the Weighty Rarity set with the lights out, 2004, a best of called from that set called Sliver, the Best of the Box, 2005, Live at Reading, 2009, the vinyl reissues over the past 2 years of Bleach, Nevermind In Utero, and Unplugged. Now, with 90s grunge nostalgia at high tide, Universal is releasing one of the bone-driest offerings yet. The, quote, Super Deluxe 4-CD, 1 DVD, 20th anniversary version of Nevermind, which comes out on Tuesday, is built around 2 different mixes of the album, as if anyone listening on earbuds on a city bus is going to be able to tell the difference, or tell them apart, or cares to A-B them. Does anyone even imagine that kids deafened by nearly 2 decades of increasingly shitty mastering and overcompression will even be able to hear the difference between the familiar Andy Wallace radio polish, which comprises most of disc 1, and the initial Butch Vig mix, which is all of disc 3? Everything is falling out. Nevermind is a great record, but Lord, what a boring thing to offer fans. There's not even any fresh meat for the obsessives who go for this sort of thing. Yet this bottom-of-the-barrel commemoration also carries wonderful news. There's nothing left to scrape up. The lost tracks, alternate versions, outtakes, live takes, piss takes, and demos have all been packaged and turned out. His former labels have had 17 years to weave those scraps into dollars, and they're clearly diluting what few bits are left in order to make it last. Universal is stacking up the editions of Nevermind for a last hurrah with not just the, quote, Super Deluxe, but also a two-disc deluxe version and a straight-up single CD remastered reissue of the album. Oh, and you can also buy the DVD by itself, too. This is the beginning of the end, though if you squint, you can see the heart-shaped box in an actual box shaped like a heart, 25th anniversary box set, or perhaps Nevermind in mono, galloping our way on the horizon. It's funny, this latest Nevermind coming down the pike 2 weeks after Winterland, the 5-CD, 9-LP box of live Jimi Hendrix recordings from 1968. Hendrix is, of course, the most repackaged and reissued artist that we've got, a model provider for the dying major labels. Hardly a holiday season has passed in recent memory when he hasn't been revivified in some slick and modest box. Nirvana, as this pitiful set makes clear, doesn't have such an infinitely expandable catalog. Cobain is not our Jimmy, he is our Jim. Nirvana, punk bona fides be damned, has become an analog to the Doors. For today's misunderstood stone teenagers, he's a died young, druggy poet totem. Cobain's nasty, sudden exit and the height of his fame ensures we will always wish for more. These endless reissues count on that. These boxes and anniversary editions prey upon the universal wish to relive that singular moment of Smells Like Teen Spirit. That feeling of being possessed by its pure abandon, its stuttering pound, that tension between the verse and the chorus, that feral grain of Cobain's voice. There's not one among us that cannot pinpoint where we were, what we were doing, what we felt for that first, when we heard it for the first time. That wish is there in anyone who's ever heard Nirvana and loved them. But you never get as high as the first time, do you? This is clearly understood by everyone that owns a piece, labels, publishing house, bandmates, and everyone with a claim to stake, and everybody with some sort of marketable crumb to pimp out. And Cobain, whose heart once beat heavy with Olympia-bred punk dogma, he isn't here to refuse any of it. He's dead, so fuck him. In life, he was a commodity. In death, even more so. As Everett True wrote in 2007's Nirvana, the biography, the intervention staged shortly before Cobain's suicide focused as much on getting him into rehab as it did on cajoling him into headlining Lollapalooza. Now he's no longer an impediment to anyone's potential revenue streams. It's easy to speculate what Cobain and Nirvana would have become had he lived. The band's next album could have been a Chinese democracy-like fiasco, made especially embarrassing in light of Cobain's original genius flash. He could have gone Corgan and released music with steadily diminishing returns for a decade or more. Maybe he could have joined the Foo Fighters. He could have taken the Reznor path, retiring after a steady but respectable career. And who knew then that Eddie Vedder would turn out to be the real punk among Cobain's grunge-era peers? Revisiting Nevermind is like flexing a phantom limb made up entirely of Nirvana records that never were. That's all it means now. All that's left, fantasy. The tomb is empty. Let the dead buy the dead.